I'm Nina Deeb,
I'm Mark Carvello.
and today we're going to talk about music.
Let's talk about music, something near and dear to all our hearts. So much to discuss. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back in just a minute.
The Nina and Mark Show. We will keep you in the know. Current events and special guests. Our podcast is the best. You don't want to miss the Nina and Mark Show.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Today's topic is about music. Music is something that everyone can relate to, and I'm so happy to be discussing it as a musician with my band member, Nina Deeve. We've also collaborated in music, and it's such a great topic because music impacts everyone. So we certainly have memories that are connected to music, and we have so many areas of the business that have changed, and there's so much to discuss here today. And I guess maybe we could start off, Nina, maybe discussing some of the earliest memories of when that magical music started influencing your life. Do you have something to share with us of your first musical memories and how they impacted your life and how it's connected to you to this day?
I sure do. My parents are both vocalists, so around my house, I always had my mom and my father were both. They not only would they sing, they would sing to each other. So
Uh-huh.
they would
Yeah.
like duets, and they would sing together. They would sing and they would sing songs like that. So music for me. We all sing. Everyone in my family, we're all musical, and I think it's because we just grew up with that, like with our parents. They enjoyed it, and we enjoy it because they made it so warm and loving.
Yeah, for me, it's the I guess that little magical spark of music started when I was really young, and obviously our parents are listening to music, and I my earliest memory of when that magic hit was basically, you know, these old turntable, one unit wooden type of record consoles or whatever it is, you know, to and they sounded terrific, first of all, lots of bass, and it's very vibrant, and my mother used to play ABBA and Elvis Presley and, uh, uh, so many influences just out of those 2 artists, but it was like magic to my ears, you know, being, young, and it was so inspiring that for me, as a musician today, I always thought, "You know what? I wanna be a singer. When I grow up, I wanna be a singer, and I wanna be able to do that," and that would be, like, what I'd what I would wanna do with my life is do that, and it had such an impact on me. Uh, you know, when we listen to my mother used to listen to, old school country music as well. So, a lot of variety that was going on and a lot of influences, and through my teens, you know, buying vinyl records, was a big thing, you know, certainly through the '80s, and I'm aging myself a little bit here, but, yeah, it's just so exciting, you know, everything from rock and roll to, classic music and country, and so much inspiring, moments through lyrics that really connect with you, that inspired me to be a songwriter as well, so many directions we can go with this, Nina. You know, you and I, we've written songs together. We've written at least
Mhm.
2. We've come into a really creative moment with 1984, where we shared our lyric ideas and made some music happen with that, as well as sharing some of our views through another song that we wrote as well that you can check out on YouTube if you'd like, people. Uh, but yeah, so much to discuss. Uh, what are your thoughts when you're out there? And I know you're a dancer, you like to get out to the clubs, and I know that you like to see live bands. It's exciting, isn't it, Nina?
Hmm. I feel like I feel the music, like the music's in me. So it's a part of me. I'm not just listening to it. It makes me want to move. It makes me want to be involved. It makes me want to sing along. So enjoyment that I get from music that I actually steer clear of sadder songs. So I do Patsy Cline very well. Like that's probably the one artist that I do the best, and her songs are sad.
Mhm.
So when people say, "Oh, will you sing this song?" We were actually on a cruise, and I had a request say, "Will you do this Patsy song? It's our anniversary." A gentleman asked me for him and his wife, and I did
Yeah.
it. But it's never my those were never really my choices. I like the happy songs, the get moving songs, the but her vocal range and I mean, she's definitely a classic artist. I've always been attracted to music. It's like a magnet for me.
You know, you mentioned a good point about music and how it affects our mood, how it gets all those little connectors going, and when you're in mood to be happy, you listen to happy music and happy lyrics, and, when you're down and out, you're listening to, some sad lyrics, for me, earlier, my mom used to play Tammy Wynette, so, Divorca, like but I liked it, though it was sad, but it was definitely influential, right? So, they say that music is probably the highest form of really connecting those little things in your brain to really fire up some emotions. So it's a good way to relax. It's a good way to brighten your mood when you're down. It's a good way to reflect, depending on the artist or the song. So music has so much impact on so many people. And these days, music is I would say it's not quite what it used to be, like music when particularly the classics, music that impacts you for generations and generations and it just keeps going. We've always had the classics that are impacting our life. If you listen to, What a Wonderful World, you know, it's always going to be that perfect song that's going to capture the moment. And I'm not sure I'm not sure if we're totally getting that type of magic so much these days. A lot of the music these days, it's a little more filtered, it's a little more processed, some of it's, trying to recapture that magic, and I don't know if we're hitting the mark on it, but is there anybody today, like, that you listen to that you would, refer to, or perhaps somebody from the past, maybe the Eagles or a favorite band of yours that you would like to, make
I
mention of right now?
love the Eagles. Love, love, love the Eagles. They're one of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, for sure. I think I have all their music memorized. All of it.
You know, this this is exactly the classic type of music that, seems elusive these days. People aren't writing that style, and there's a lot of radio doesn't play that, or they don't play new artists that sound old country, and we kind of get this filtered version to radio. If there is still radio, I don't know if people listen to radio or with a lot of the streaming. And I think in this day today, originality is very important. I think it's one of the things that's going to save this music industry, if anything, is to kind of have artists that are not afraid to revisit or kind of do new things in music. Uh, what are
How
your
many
thoughts?
songs do you think are written that we never hear? How many songs are written that nobody ever gets to hear?
You know, it's a lot. It's a lot. There's so much saturation going on in the music industry. There's so many artists that are trying to get people to listen to their music or hear it for the first time. And there's a lot involved for the musician these days. It's not just, you go out and you play in a band somewhere and then you some manager comes out from AR from a record company and then you sign your name on a contract anymore. This is a lot of hats to wear for musicians, and they do a lot of things that people may not be aware of. Certainly, we mentioned songwriting. Obviously, that is a big hat on its own. But musicians are out there. They're recording themselves. They're producing themselves. Uh, they're rehearsing. They're trying to get venues to play at. Uh, there's a lot involved with being a musician these days, and of course, the marketing of it all and the online stuff, and it's a lot. But I certainly do hope that people will come out and support their musicians in live venues or online with streaming. There's I'm babbling on a little bit here because music is one of my favorite topics, but I just wanted to make mention about what it is to be a musician, because some people may be musically inclined, maybe they enjoy music, but there's definitely a left side and a right side brain, you know, uh, for a musician. A musician tends to be more of the less logical, mathematical, more emotional type of person as far as their structure uh, to be creative. So it was just a lot to musicians, and they're complex and creative, and
If you take everything away, like if you take away all the noise of what are you underneath everything, I consider myself a musician. So somebody that one time said to me, "What do you do?" And I said, "I'm a musician, but I make a living as a realtor." Like deep down, I was like, "What are you?" I was like, "Well, deep down, I'm a musician. Like that's what I am. That's like
yeah,
deep,
yeah.
deep down is like what makes you happy and gets you going." And I love music for many reasons. Like music for me is also how I stay fit. So I walk, I do different things, but I dance. So the
Mhm.
dancing is associated to the music. So when I say the music's in me, if I decide if my clothes are getting a little snug, uh, I get dancing. Like I put a headset on and I start dancing, and there is nothing that will like it. The weight just falls off. And I haven't found anything else that works this way. I like food a lot. I eat a lot of food, and I want to eat whatever I want to eat. I don't like to feel deprived, or you can't have that, or you can't have that.
Yeah,
We mentioned before, like I like butter. I like real sugar.
sure.
I
Yeah,
like ice cream. I like all the real foods, and to eat the real foods, you have to stay active. And
sure.
like dance does that for me. I can dance for
Yeah.
hours and hours. I don't get tired. I feel great after. I actually have more energy. It's like I could jog home after I've danced all night. It's like, all right, time to jog home. But I drive because I wasn't drinking. There was no time to drink, so I just drive afterwards, no problem. But the
Yeah.
dance is like the music and the dance and the create. Like, there's so many different things that can give you joy and
Greatest
pleasure.
impact of music is, it gets you moving, it gets you thinking, and you know, eh, I thought the other day, I'm like, could you imagine a world without music in it? Like even for a week or a couple of weeks, if you were just not allowed to hear any music, it would be very different. And one of the things that's also different is the way that we consume music these days and what's involved with that. And I came across an interesting statistic. I don't know when this was, maybe about a month ago. It has been so long since we've seen a band on the charts. Like it has been like 20 years, since we've seen an actual formed band on the charts, on Billboard or whatever genre. And it is so true. The band experience has disappeared. I think maybe a Nickelback might have been the last charting band that was out there, but now everything is kind of shifted towards collaborations. You ever notice that, Nina? It's like everyone's
Yeah.
collaborating, to get their chart topping hits and whatnot. But things have definitely changed in the way that we're hearing music and consuming it. At least from the the marketing standpoint of charting. So, what are your thoughts on that?
It's definitely changed. And like I think about the 80s, we would listen to the radio and we would record the song off of the
Sure.
radio, or like
Yeah.
you'd have your top 100 and you'd listen to the top one. Sometimes you'd record the top 100 on your tape.
Yeah.
So the way that we consume music, it has definitely changed. I love that old-fashioned record player, just like you do, that piece of furniture that had the speakers in the side and the sound that came out of that. That there's nothing, I haven't found anything that really gives you that experience of that piece of furniture that's your, it's like it's your music machine. Every living room had this music machine.
Yeah.
That's changed. Now everything is, well, like I had, you have different platforms you use. I was using Apple Music for a while, and then you collect everything there, and then you switch to something else, and everything that you had collected within your Apple Music is no longer available when you switch to something else. I
Well,
don't
speak,
uh, I don't buy as much music like to have like a physical music anymore like I used to.
well, there's so much that's changed too. I mean, we've gone through an era where you mentioned the sound. We've gone from an analog to tape recording type of scenario to a very digital processed format. So the warmth of music has even changed. You know, when we listen to old records, obviously I'm going to bring up Fleetwood Mac. When you listen to Rumors, you hear the realness in the room. You hear the natural analog sounds of the instruments, the vocalists. Everything seems more pure and accessible. In today's market of recording and producing, it's perfection that everybody is after. We want, nothing to be off time. We want the BPM to be a certain way. We want the singer not to be perfectly pitched. We are getting a very processed version of artistry these days that I think it's spilling on, not just in music. I mean, with AI and everything that's going on, it's kind of like reaching the, you don't need to be that creative of a person or that talented because we can fix all this in post production with the music and everything. So and don't get me wrong, there's plenty of incredibly talented people, but you have to kind of dig a little bit to find out some new artists, through your whatever it may be, for whatever online platforms, Spotify or whatever. You have to put the effort in to kind of research and have a look and find your new tribe of musicians that are out there. So yeah, definitely a lot of changes in the music industry. And just for our listeners out there, if you're catching us on YouTube, we'd love to hear from you as a musician and your insight onto how things are going and what's frustrating, and how we can make the situation a little bit more accessible for everybody to access your music. Um, yeah, there's a lot to be said, and I did see a few weeks ago some staggering facts if people don't know. The average Spotify artist, on a stream is expected to hold your interest for at least 30 seconds. And if you do find them and stream them, they are going to get paid 0.23 cents for that stream. So what this market has done is you will never know how much you were streaming until you've had 1,000 streams. So a little interesting fact about Spotify that maybe musicians know, but maybe you out there in the audience can appreciate that when you're listening to a musician, listen to the strong song and stream it. And if there's anything that if it's something you like and you want to promote, share it with people and give us a little hand here to try to promote our music and get it out there, because it's certainly difficult these days, especially with the saturation and a lot of artists, um, especially and with the venues as well. Go and see a band. Go see a
It's
band
not
and
it's not easy to
support.
make money, is it? It's not that easy
No,
to make money. Yeah.
absolutely not. I mean, and you can do small things, and I always refer to this quote, that came along. You know, people are willing to pay $1 for a phone app of a fart, but you know, they expect that a musician that's spent endless hours recording or writing or trying to produce something to put out into, you know, people aren't, you know, they're not willing to give the artist a hand or something like that. And there's so much involved in trying to market yourself these days that it's very daunting for a musician to take on all those hats. So do support your local musicians that are coming out, and do pay them well, because they needed to rehearse for a long time to get good enough to get out and play. And
And the equipment's expensive. Like the
absolutely,
equipment's like listen to me, I'm a vocalist. So I'm like, oh, the equipment's expensive. It's like uh, it's like how
that's
much that
right.
costs that voice? It's like it's so expensive. It's to carry around. But the equipment is expensive. Your microphones, your everything that you need to put it together, right?
Yeah.
And it's there's so many things. How many microphones do you have? How many headsets do you have? How many like the equipment that you wind up acquiring for your trade. Like it's a trade that it's difficult to get paid for.
Mhm.
People they enjoy what you're making, but I just don't think they realize that it's just not that easy to turn that into an income for yourself.
That's right. So I guess I guess the whole thing is, when you really look back at, I'm referring to classic music again, uh, classic bands. There's I don't know if it's a revival, but it seems that, you know, people are always, it's like a standard. You know, you're going to listen to AC/DC. You're going to listen to your Eagles. You're going to listen to your Fleetwood Mac. You're going to listen to, from the '80s, you're gonna put on that old Madonna song or that Prince song. You know, you've got all these incredible artists that uh, were really unique and really pushing the button of creativity, even visually. Because there's always good music that's happening, you know? I'm just not one to aspire to the concept of, once again, this is top-down stuff that's going on, you know? You've got a record company that has money that's paying for an artist that they've signed, and they have all the advantages. They have the radio stations that are going to, you know, get their new music out to them, and they're gonna decide on who's gonna be listened to and promoted the most. So the underbelly of the rest of us that are trying to get into the industry are likely not going to see a record deal anytime soon. So we've got to kind of do things on our own. If anybody out there that's listening to us on YouTube, and you want to make a comment, we'd love to hear from you. And also, you can find us on YouTube. Some of our collaborations between Nina and I think we got 2 songs out there, we put together
Yeah,
a
we put
couple of years
two out.
ago.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to put something out in the next few months. Who knows? Would you be into that, Nina?
It all depends on the mood. Like one day you just
That's
wake
right.
up and say, like I
Yeah,
just woke up, you just wake up and you got a song in your head and it just needs to
yeah.
get out.
Why not? Heck yeah, let's do it. You know, have any particular memory that you want to share about music or your travels, where you've been and what you've experienced? I know that you guys have been out in Nashville. That must have been just an
Music
incredible experience.
City. Music City. Been there a couple times and Nashville's amazing. Some of the clubs you go into, they have like a different band on every level, like a band
Yeah,
here, band here, band here, another band on the rooftop. So
yeah.
you're going from place to place, just up and down the same strip, and there's so much to take in, and there's so many artists, there's so much talent. Everyone walking up, like half the people are there like as tourists, and the other half they've got the guitar case or they're carrying their equipment around with them. They're just on foot with their cowboy boots and their cowboy hat, and it's a nice experience. I love it. I'll go back there again for sure.
Yeah,
Love Nashville.
for a musician or aspiring songwriter, everyone has that, it's the mecca of music, one of them for sure. And in the back of a musician's mind, they're like, "Oh, wouldn't it be nice if I made it out there and I brought my little demo out and someone said, 'Hey, yeah, this song is great. It sounds like a number one. We're gonna have some big star record your music and you're gonna make $1 million and everything's gonna be great in your life,' right?" Which is the big dream that us silly musicians I'm not saying that I'm not the dream crusher here, but it's quite a leap, to get there. And particularly, I read some statistics on songwriters in the industry and how much of that has fallen to the wayside. Like I think we're down to 10% in Nashville that are actually working active songwriters, and for a lot of people, even on Spotify, there's a very small percentage. I think it's 6% of people that can make money in Spotify, and that level is about $10,000 if they are having great success in on Spotify. So at the end of the day, we need to do it because we love it. That is the most important thing. We love to be creative. We love to gather people together and have a good time. And I think that's, everything else is all the icing on the cake, so to speak. So, uh, once again, if you're a musician and you're out there and you love doing what you're doing and want to comment on that, we'd love to hear from you. Is there anything you'd like to add, Nina, about music? And
Do you know, when we were teenagers, music was very important, and also karaoke was very popular. And we would go to the karaoke clubs, even being we were underage, and you'd go there early enough because there were also restaurants quite often. You go there early enough, and we would go to the karaoke clubs, and we always had a great time. It was always like you'd get a group together, you'd go out, have a great time. And I met my husband at karaoke. So he'd approached me and asked me to sing a song, and it's a good way to meet people. And I laugh about that, saying it's what we had in common was music. So our common ground was music, and that's what we fell in love over. Really, is music.
well, that's part of the whole magic experience with music, and certainly everybody out there knows what that is like when you have goosebumps listening to some of your music tracks from today's artists or yesterday's artists. Everything is attached to memories with music, and I'm so glad that we had this topic today. And we could go on and on about music because there's certainly more to talk about. But thank you very much, Nina, for choosing the topic that we're discussing today. And once again, thank you, our listeners, for listening. And if you have some comments and you'd like to join us in that, we'd be happy to hear from you. We hope to see you soon. And thank you, as I mentioned, once again for joining Nina and I here on The Current. Thank you.
See you again.
Nina and Mark Show. We will keep you in the know. Current events and special guests. Our podcast is the best. You don't want to miss the Nina and Mark Show.